It's the Last Stand Podcast. And here's your host, Brian Custer.
That's right. It is the Last Stand. I'm Brian Custer. We bring you the biggest names in the sport. And our guest today is one of Bellator's pound for pound best fighters in the world. He is the featherweight's #1 contender. He's known as the Mercenary. He's the unbeaten AJ McKee. AJ, welcome to the Last Stand.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. My pleasure.
Man, good to have you, my brother, because at the end of the month, July 31st, Bellator 263, you're taking on the champion, Patrício Pitbull, featherweight title, $1 million on the line. Pitbull has the most wins in Bellator history. He has 7 successful defenses. He's regarded as the best fighter in Bellator history. You tell us why you are so confident that you're going to win this fight.
Man, just the fact that for 17 fights since I first signed to the organization, he's been the target. He's been the man that I've trained for. So everything around my career has kind of been built and geared towards beating him. We had the opportunity to fight him 4 fights ago. He beat Michael Chandler to become the champ. And I was supposed to go up to 155 pounds and fight for the title there. My teammate was supposed to go into this tournament that I'm currently in. And some things happened in life, and I feel everything happens the way that it's supposed to. I ended up getting looped into the tournament, and here we are 4 fights later, fighting for $1 million. But Patrício Pitbull, he's done a great job at being a champ, holding the title, and kind of setting the bar high to not just show his level of eliteness, but also showing how established he is as a champ. You know, stop, bro. That's gross. He's going up to different divisions and taking titles from 155-pound titles and doing it just in such an elegant and quick fashion that I don't think people know really how to quite deal with it, you know? So when I go out there and I starch him and make it look easy, everyone's going to be like, oh, it was a fluke. I know. He got lucky. But I'm used to that. People have said that for 17 fights. Oh, he's fighting scrubs, this, that. You know what I mean? So for me, it's just more motivation to go in there and get him out of there as soon as possible.
And why are you so confident, man? What is it about AJ McKee in your game that you say, man, I'm going to starch this guy?
It's the mercenary, man. I do my job, you know. I sign that dotted line. I go in there, and I'm taking that person out. Some people call it an alter ego. For me, it's knowing that I'm destined for greatness. You know what I mean? Later, Joe. Just knowing that I'm destined for greatness. Since I was a kid, watching my dad's career, watching him, you know, I got Rampage, Randy Couture, all these guys. My dad at 155 pounds. I watched him beat all these guys up. How come we don't have a big house like them? How come we don't have nice cars like them? Those were questions that I used to ask my dad, you know? And I'm like, well, you're 8 years undefeated. Why aren't you famous? You know, like these are things that really bothered me. And then it started to bother me in my own career. 8-0, 9-0, 10-0. Why do I not have a following? Why are people not respecting me? And it got to a point where it really bothered me for quite some time. And then I took on the Floyd mentality. If you can't stop me, you got to join me. So screw what they're talking about. Screw what they're hating on. Take the short end of the stick. And in the end, you're going to get the long end of the stick. Why? Because you put in the work. You put in the work ethic. You know what I mean? You like the grind just doesn't stop. It's all day. You know, I'm in the gym 2 times, 3 times a day. So that's what sets you aside from being good and being great. You know what I mean?
Wow.
So
yeah, I love that. I love it. You know, this fight is taking place in LA at the Forum. First Bellator event that's going to be outside that Mohegan Sun bubble that you've had in Connecticut. First show on the road. What would it mean to not only win, but win the title and do it in your backyard of LA?
Man, it's going to be awesome to do it in the backyard. Just being in those red walls, like there's so much history that has been set and done within those walls. Being the first father-son to fight on a professional card and win together, like that was done at the Forum. My father and I fought on the same card and we both won. I also started the first round of the $1 million tournament that night. So for me, it was like, if he wins, you got to go win. If he loses, you got to go win. Cause like, you got to set the bar high. You know what I mean? So now going back to the Forum, it being the first event, it's gonna be surreal. It's gonna be like a movie all over again. I still can't even put together the words for that first night when we fought together at the Forum. So like now this night being all for me, man, it's gonna be like a movie, and I can't wait. You know, this is the opportunity. I feel like this is my coming out party, and everyone's gonna get to finally see who AJ McKee is for once.
Love it. Love it. You know, you talk about your father. He's also obviously your trainer. He said he believes this is the easiest matchup for you. Do you agree?
Definitely. Like I said, this has been a fight that we've prepared for 17 fights. Pitbull has ignored me. He's switched the brackets and put all the young guys, the wrestlers, anything that was a threat to him on another side of the bracket, which was smart. Can't blame the man strategically thinking. But at the end of the day, there's nowhere else to run. There's nowhere else to hide. So when I look him in his eyes, I can see right through all of that. You know what I mean? I can see through the switch in the brackets, through the you have to lose to be complete. I can see through all that. When I look him in his eyes, I'm staring him in his soul. I see fear. And that's the part that I fear, because any man that's fighting with fear is a problem. So that's making me train even harder. You know, I fear a man that fears me. And that's the biggest, that's where the fight's at, man. When you got somebody fighting off of fear, that's something scary to deal with.
Your father also said that the only concern that he has is making sure Pitbull is, quote, drug tested for this fight. Look at the pictures of Pitbull a year ago. Look at the pictures of him now. Do you think Pitbull's been using PEDs?
I don't know, man. The way this sport is, I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in this sport. Or shall I say entertainment world. I don't know what he's using. I don't really care. But I would like drug testing. You know, I wish USADA would test all of us. You know, that's one thing I can say the boxing world is really good on, is testing post-weight qualifications and so forth. So it being here in the home turf in LA, I know they're going to do urine tests and so forth. But, man, at the end of the day, I got a job to do. I'm not really too worried about it. Obviously, a drug test is shit. I'll piss and give you any blood you want. You know, I'm willingly. Show up at my door. It is what it is. Like, I know I'm pissing clean. So I've seen a lot of stuff in the fight game. There's a lot of athletes that are on stuff, just like there's a science in the way you should work out. There's a science to it for people to use these things and to be able to do them and stop. So there's a big just accumulation of things, but drug testing should be that's essential. I feel like, for sure. You know, I'd love if USADA started showing up at doors, Bellator fighter doors, like, hey, piss in the cup. I think we would see a big change in the sport, not only Bellator, UFC as well. If you look back 3-4 years ago, all the champs 3-4 years ago just magically fucking shrunk up and dropped down 2 divisions and fell off the damn totem poles to where they were all top 5, to where they're all now 5 and below in different weight classes, lower weight classes. Usually you don't see people get smaller, you see people get bigger. So I don't know. USADA's doing good things with their testing. I can't really speak on testing, you know what I mean? I know I piss in my cup and I piss clean, so I don't worry about it too much. But with this substantial amount of money being on the line, yes, I completely agree. You know, especially Patrício Pitbull. I look at pictures of him. He was cut up and lanky like me at first, and then now all of a sudden you turn into a legitimate Pitbull. I don't know. You know what I mean? He's a buff guy, but I don't. Whatever. It ain't gonna stop him whooping his ass.
I love it. Should the winner of this fight be considered pound for pound best fighter and the face of Bellator right now.
Agreed, hands down. The fact that no one else in the division holds more, matter of fact, in the organization holds more records than him and I think that's a big statement within itself. I have most consecutive wins. I think I'm behind him for one knockout or one finish on the totem pole. We're neck and neck with all the rankings, except for pound for pound. I believe I'm like 6th or something. But after I go knock him out, that shoots me up to number 1. So at that point, I feel it's going to open up a lot of doors. Something I've always spoke on is unifying the belts. That's something I've been key on. I saw a lot of that in the boxing world, when the sport really developed and entertainment became a problem of building the athletes. They said, screw it, let's unify the belts, bring all athletes together, and we'll see who the best of the best was. And that's when Floyd stuck out the most. So for me, that's something I'd like to do. And I feel like that'll come in due time when I reach the pinnacle of my career, is being able to create something for the fighters, Obviously, there's going to be that one fighter that stands out exponentially. And that was Floyd in the boxing world. So I'm looking for it to be me in the MMA world, being undefeated and just pushing to help out for the fighters. A lot of fighters, we don't really care about the pay. It's about proving that we can be the best. And for me, man, I don't want to be just the best. I want to be the best and get paid like the best, So that's why I say it's the Floyd mindset, the money mindset. At the end of the day, I don't do it for the money, but the money is a big benefit. It's a big bonus because at the end of the day, it's how I take care of my family. It's how my family eats, my dad's family. So just looking forward to creating generational wealth, not only for myself, but for my loved ones. That's something I feel is going to be a big point in making not just the sport evolve, but myself and my family evolve with the sport.
I think it's crazy that you started your MMA career, basically just 6 years ago. Now you're on the precipice of possibly becoming a world champion. Do you think this title shot and this title opportunity is coming too soon?
No, definitely not. That's one thing I can say Bellator has done a great job with is building me. They didn't rush me. There was a point where they wanted me to push a little bit faster and get into the title shots. It's like, no, he's not ready. But to Bellator, I look ready. Why? Because I'm knocking people out first round, minute in, 2 minutes in. But they don't see on the backside of my life. I'm going through girl issues. I'm going through life issues, family issues. They just see AJ in there starching someone. They don't see anything on the backside of the door. And that's where the relationship with my father and Bellator came into a big play into my career and a big part. There was a time I took some time off and just stepped away from the sport altogether for a couple months, training and all. So Bellator has just done a great job with my dad by their side and building me and not pushing me too soon. If it was up to me, man, 11-0, I was calling for that belt. 5th fight, I was calling for that belt. So that belt around my waist ASAP. But I'm thankful and I'm grateful for the way that things have played out. Now I'm in one of the best positions I could possibly be sitting in, contractually and physically and mentally. So I'm looking forward to it. I'm eager. I got one last line to write. One last line to write in this chapter, and it's on to the next.
So if you win the featherweight title, what's next? What's next on your goals?
Be a champ. That was my first. I wanted to be a champion. That's obviously step one. Be a champion and a millionaire. But being a champ, that just, I feel like that solidifies the stamp on like, okay, he's not fucking around. Like he's here, he's taking over. And he's not taking part. You know what I mean? Like this, he's showing up and he's showing out. So being a champ's obviously a big key. The recognition part, I'm looking forward to doing some boxing, getting some big money fights going, and seeing where things go on that end. The fact you can tell me I'm already a striker. So if you're gonna tell me I don't have to worry about kicks or elbows or knees, like to go box and be able to have fun and do that, you know what I mean? And I get paid for it and I get to get a following going, man, sign me up. You know what I mean? Especially with MMA, this certain fights, certain things take a little bit longer. And, you know, if I'm knocking people out in 8 seconds, fuck, get me back in there, bro. I don't want to sit on a shelf for 3 months. You know what I mean? Like, this is what I work for. I'm trying to get right back in there and get to the action. So that's a big part for me.
Do you see yourself staying at Bellator, or would you see yourself ever moving to the UFC?
So there's a couple conditions that I have. If I were to ever go to the UFC, they got to get rid of that new belt. I want the old belt. That'll be in my contract if that ever happens. Or I'll just trade Rampage one of his old belts for my new belt. But he likes his old belt too. He don't like the new one, so that ain't happening. Let's see. I don't know. At the end of the day, I like what Bellator's doing, the merge with Showtime and so forth. So the ideas, the things that I want to do endorsement-wise, Snickers, Undefeated, Sprite, Porsche, Monster, these are big endorsements, you know, Nike, Puma. These are endorsements that haven't really stepped foot in the mixed martial arts world at all. You know, Nike did it with John Jones, and he blew that up in the smoke. And you haven't really seen any big collabs yet. And everyone, I get it from a business aspect. MMA is like the wild, wild west in a sense, you know? When you step into it, it's like, what the is this? What's going on? You got this happening over here, this happening over here. So when it comes to organized business, it's not hand in hand like other sports. You know what I mean? You got a team that goes in, they get this job done. You got a team set for this, a team set for that. It's not really like that in MMA yet. So I feel also, like I was saying, setting up things for the fighters, maybe getting certain acts going, like the Muhammad Ali Act for fighters. Sponsor-wise, when I tie myself to big organizations, Snickers, Undefeated, Nike, Porsche, Monster, when these doors open, these are now resources that I can use at the higher up levels to kind of put all my tools together and open doors, not just for myself, but for other athletes. And I think that's kind of my main goal. You know, it's perfection and the excellence. You know, it's just like being undefeated. You know, you find something in being a perfectionist, and it's always striving for that excellence, which is key. I learned that about Porsche. You know, I didn't know what kind of what my dream car was at first, you know, and then I started looking in. I'm like, man, this GT2 RS is like the cream of the crop when it comes to the cars, you know what I mean? So then looking into Porsche, finding out like there's certain things, you know, and it's weird how I attract myself to everything that's like top of the line in a sense, you know. Snickers, it's Mars bars. They're like the elite candy bar of all candy bars. I've been eating Snickers my entire life. I'm gonna go grab one out the freezer when I get home right now. You know what I mean? Monster, they fuel the beast. Red Bull's the pinnacle of the sport, but hey, Monster it is. You got to feel that beast. You know what I mean? So that's something like I can just kind of correlate myself to. Undefeated, it's a lifestyle you have to live, you know, just like the Mamba mentality with Kobe. It's the day in, the day out work, you know, all night, day and night. So it's just finding those things that I can kind of tie myself to in a sense that I would feel that I market well, that could also represent me well outside of the cage, you know.
You talked about you can see yourself boxing. So obviously an exhibition fight is something that you'd be interested in. It begs the question, when would we see you in a boxing match, and who would you like to fight?
Man, I know Floyd don't fight no more, but I've been wanting to fight Floyd for some years, boy. I just feel like he would bring me not only the attention, but the recognition that I deserve in my sport, not in his sport, because we already know Floyd runs this shit. Floyd runs the boxing room, but it's the respect, the honor to share the ring with him. That's what I would look forward to most. You know, you got a lot of these young cats out there going out there trying to knock his damn head off his shoulders. He don't fight no more. Go have a respectful sparring match with that man. You know what I mean? And showcase your skill the best that you can. Other than that, man, shit. What weight Ryan Garcia fight at? Is he
right. He's at 135.
He's too small. He's too small. But hey, if he wants some barbecue sauce on them ribs, he could get that smoke too. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, anybody at 145 pounds, they're gonna have some problems. 145, 100 and what? It's 147 and 152 or 150.
Yep, 147, 154.
Let's get it. I'm ready. You know, that's not my sport, but at the end of the day, I'm gonna come in with respect. I'm gonna sell the show. We're gonna have a great fight, and I guarantee you, I'm gonna piss you off and fluster whoever's stepping in front of me.
So, given that, you know, your father used to train Tyron Woodley, and
yes,
Woodley's
sir.
getting ready. He's getting ready to fight Jake Paul.
Yes, sir.
What do you think about that fight? What's going to happen there? What do you think?
April 7th, man. We share the same birthday. Being that star baby. Like I said, people don't see the things that happen on the back end behind closed door of these fighters' lives. You know, they only see the image that is portrayed in front of them. So me knowing Woodley personally, knowing what has gone on in his life in the past 2-3 years, I'm excited for it. His last UFC fight, you saw he went out there and tried to go get it. That was a week of training with us over here at Body Shop. I told him, I said, hey, champ, man, bro, go get it. Like, no matter what, go get it, dog. If you get hit, say, fuck it. Fight that mouthpiece and just swing, dog. Go out on your sword. You know what I mean? Go out on your shield, swinging that sword, dog. Like, you know you got it in you. Just go get it. So, I don't know. I feel like the disrespect that comes from these YouTubers and them hopping into the fight game, we already know they ain't going to do no MMA. They'll fuck around in there and get killed. Like, they got to worry about elbows, knees. They're not that dumb. You know, they're very intelligent. They're smart. So what they're doing is genius, you know. I appreciate them doing what they're doing because at the end of the day, it's exposing the entertainment world within the sports, especially mixed martial arts, so that it's now having to become a sport. Boxing, hey, they're bringing in views. You know what I mean? Like Floyd said, he does not fight anymore.
Right. But let me ask you this. But will Tyron, because, you know, Jake Paul, he fancies himself as a fighter. He really believes he can do this thing. You know, man, he got a lot of for knocking out Nate Robinson. What is Tyron Woodley going to do? Will this be a good fight?
Yes, I believe so. I believe Woodley is going to have that fire. He should bring it back. But once again, Jake Robertson, who is he? He's not here. Then you go, what's his brother fought Ben Askren? You're talking about Olympic level wrestler. He has no hands. I'm sorry. I'm not going to give you respect for beating up somebody that you're fighting them at their worst fucking job. What you're supposed to win. That's like putting a snail with a rabbit in a race. Okay, yeah, the snail supposedly wins, but in reality, that rabbit's going to reach that finish line. You know what I mean? So, I mean, once again, like I said, I appreciate what they're doing. They're bringing a lot of hype back to boxing, you know, bringing it back to the entertainment world. And they're doing big things for MMA. You know, they're helping out a lot of big fighters. I appreciate them. But hey, if y'all really about helping, why don't you come fight a young superstar? I'll whoop both y'all asses. And guess what? You know what I mean? What's up? You know, they don't want to fight real fighters. They don't want to fight real fighters because the real fighters got something to prove.
That's great. It's a good point. And you listen, your father was a great fighter, MMA fighter as well. When did you know? How old were you when you knew you wanted to do this?
Man, I believe I was I would say probably about third grade when they tried to expel me from school for beating up 5 fifth graders. They wanted to play a little racial game of basketball, and we were whooping on them 3-on-5. And next thing you know, some things got out of hand. I ended up blacking out and ended up beating the guys up. And the teacher was like, man, I sat there and watched him from the window. And it was just unbelievable. And then after that, you know, I used to go to Compton. I'd fight constantly with my cousin, Joey Davis. We go to the park, play football, and just end up fighting. You know what I mean? We go to the little back house, We doing our little backyard Kimbo Slice fights in the backyard, $5 for the ice cream truck, you know, winner takes $10. Like, it was just fun. And then my dad kind of found out that I was fighting, and he's like, you better stop doing that. You know what I mean? And a week after my 18th birthday, he put an amateur show together so I could go and fight. And yeah, that was it. You know, I suplexed the dude on his head, kept the fight going, fought 3 5s, just put on a great show. And my dad was like, you know what? I think we got something here. But I had already kind of been doing amateur prior to that, before amateur was even around. You know what I mean? There was no amateur when I was a kid. We'd just go to another gym, line each other up, like, oh, you look about the same size, you look about the same size, let's match them up. And that was how we started our amateur careers.
So, AJ, let me ask you this. What separates AJ McKee from the rest when we talk about great fighters in MMA? What separates you from the rest? This
right here. The power of mind, the will, like I said, the kill or be killed. When I step in that cage, my mind goes blank. I call it my playpen. I go in there to play with people, you know. The deeper the fight goes, the more tired I get. I just start pulling things out of a bag where I can say I don't know where they come from. Like, it's what I do, you know. It's like my second language. So yeah, man, the power of mind is key. The determination. I'm gonna kill or be killed in that cage, literally. You know, if you're gonna beat me, you're gonna have to either catch me in something or catch me and finish the job. Because if I'm still breathing, I'm still coming. You know, and that's just my mindset.
AJ, we've come to the final segment of this show. We call it The Last Stand. I'm gonna ask you a series of questions, my brother. You just give me the first thing that comes to your mind. You ready?
Oh shit, let's hear it.
Here we go. First question. Who is the better fighter? Antonio McKee or AJ McKee?
AJ McKee. My dad he made me a better version of him. Great father, great job.
UFC or Bellator? In your opinion, who has the best fighter right now?
Bellator.
And who is that fighter?
You already know.
In your opinion, who's the GOAT when it comes to the MMA?
Man, the GOAT, Anderson Silva. He was a big inspiration to my style. He was before his time. You know, he was out there bored playing with people, and it showed. You know, he ended up getting caught, and then after that, he kind of just stepped away and was kind of done with it because he held the reins for so long. But once again, you're talking about someone before their time.
Biggest difference between Bellator and UFC?
Promotion.
Last but not least.
Promotion and marketing.
Who does it better?
I would have to go with UFC. I mean, people knew about UFC before they even knew what damn mixed martial arts was. Oh, you do UFC? No, I do MMA. UFC is an organization, people. Come on.
You're right. You're right.
Their career.
Last but not least, you beat Pitbull. You get the title. You get $1 million. What you doing with the money, man?
Man, I might go buy a Porsche GT2 RS. It's about $250. Hey, Porsche, can we do something? You know what I mean? Maybe go have something on it. Like, that way I don't got to take all the emblems off and black that thing out. I don't know. Invest. You know, obviously I'm gonna spend a little bit. Invest, man. Hopefully some big things come afterwards. Some nice endorsement deals, but yeah, invest. I'm looking to buy myself a house, extend my dog family, you know what I mean? Take this pit bull to the pound and replace him with a female so my pit can mate a little bit.
Love it. I love it. I tell you what, folks, this man has the most consecutive victories in Bellator history, looking to make it 18 and, of course, have that strap as well. He is the mercenary AJ McKee. My brother, appreciate you spending some time with us. Best of luck to you on Bellator 263.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to speak with you.
Man, that's what we do here on The Last Stand. We bring you the biggest names in the sport like AJ McKee. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next week.
Bang, bang.